Hey guys, Dr. Ray here. I hope you're choosing to have a great day. I know there's a lot of confusion out there surrounding hair loss. It's caused by a biochemical imbalance, inherited by your mom and dad, influenced by your lifestyle choices.
Hair loss. Why did Dr. Nettles decide to get into hair loss, right? I was studying to be a vitreoretinal surgeon, which is an ophthalmologist. I was studying to be a hair transplant surgeon. I was studying to be a behavioral practitioner. I came here just to learn as much as I could so that I could help all of us. But hair loss happened to be something that was inside my family, and I knew that it was going to happen to me or that I was predisposed to it. And on top, you'll see the pictures of my brothers, and then you'll see a picture of me on the top over there where my hair was standing all over 1, 2, 3 zones, even in zone 4. Zone 5 had not been affected, but 1, 2, 3, 4 were. So I started working on formulas for myself early on. And when I reasoned the chemistry behind it, it deductively made sense to use the ingredients that I decided to use. It worked for me. Now I shared the story with lots of people, and you'll see my younger brother underneath me. He started down the program when he noticed thin hair. He now has a full head of hair. My older brother on the very top there, he has 2 sons, my nephews. They're 17, 19 years old. They are both on the program now, and they're doing great. Our youngest client is 14 years old from Australia. Our oldest client is 88 years old from Texas. So how did we solve this riddle, right? So doctor didn't do it by himself. Newton, who discovered gravity, said, if I saw further, I stood on the shoulders of giants, okay? And there's a lot of history about what happened over time. Things that have happened recently are things like X-ray crystallography. We can grow crystals from the chemicals inside our body, and we can see things using X-rays when light, right? Light is made of wavelengths, and they can be too big to see something too small. So the molecules that we're working with are pico-sized, and remember that a wavelength of light is a nanometer, right? So 1,000 times smaller than a wavelength of light is the shape of the ingredients from things like food that we're going to use to put inside our body to repair the enzymes that we can see when we make crystals out of them, okay? So the cause of hair loss, right? So we can break it down and just say there's going to be an imbalance that we need to rebalance, right? That's the logic behind it. So we're going to look inside your body to find out what is the imbalance, okay? And over time, we've developed an algorithm, okay, like a computer code system. And once I plug in the numbers, out comes your formula, okay? Because we're all made of the same biochemical. We've got clients all over the globe, right? 6 continents. I even tell the Russians we can treat them as long as they're made of biochemistry, okay? And they are. All right, my favorite slide, okay? There you are the DNA, right? You mom and dad came together, 2 cells became 1 cell, turned into 100 trillion cells. You're the DNA, right? And you have a rocket ship. You're going to learn that your rocket ship is made of protein, right? And you've got to get the right amount of protein in. Ingredients from your rocket ship, whatever you're made of, right? Remember, you eat food, and food is broken down into ingredients. Mom and dad's recipes from DNA, they take food's ingredients and they make your biochemistry. All of the food that you eat turns into your chemistry, right? Where does it come from? It comes from your food choices. So food choices are very important, but mom and dad's recipes, right? If there's a problem there, we've got to get in there and work on it, okay? And the next part is the eligibility, okay? So you guys have learned a lot about how the process and the science. Now we've got to get the microscope out, right? Get on top and look into the zones, right? 5 zones. Let's find out if hair is starting to miniaturize, if hair is starting to recede, and then we'll look in and see if we can do something about it with checking the blood work. This gentleman here came in, hey doctor, I got a big bald spot right here on the top, and this is pretty progressive, right? But in 5 months, right, he doesn't have a full head of hair, right? And I didn't promise him that. But what he does have, you can see it, right? Less of the glare from the light, so it's starting to cover up. This is how hair regrows. quickly. And there, here he is over time, and this is just slowly regrowing, and he's happy. This gentleman, same thing. Give us enough time, hair's going to slowly grow back. This gentleman came in almost bald in the back, and this, remember, when the hair follicle is empty and it's gone, at some point in time, there's nothing I can do, right? You got to get in when the hair follicle is still living. It's just it needs resuscitation. Another example, this is an amazing case. I'll tell you that. They make their protein right. They got a lot of other stuff right. It looks like they could be cheating me and pulled some hair from the other part, right, a little bit. So that's almost too good. And I don't expect this type of stuff, okay? That all being said, this is not a typical 6-month case. Sometimes at 6 months, you look exactly the same, okay? And looking exactly the same is a win for me, because this is a chronic progressive disease. It will continue to get worse over time. So if at 6 months you look the exact same, that's a win. Does that make sense on the process of how hair regrows? So some people have great results 6 months in, some people take a little longer. But stopping the process is number one. That's why we call it stop and regrow. So we will make sure the hair will stop getting worse and it will regrow. This is a great case, and this gentleman came in at 7 months. He said, "Doctor, you're right. It stopped getting worse." And I said, "Good." This gentleman came in and he said, "Yeah, it stopped getting worse." You guys look closely at this picture. Not only, right, did it stop getting worse, guess what? He's growing hair. You see on the left, you'll see that little dot over there. That's a mole that he had. And then my consultant, they found that little mole, and they said, "Hold on, that mole's covered up with what?" Man, he didn't say hair's growing like crazy. "Doctor, I'm jumping up and down." And you would, right? If you saw this picture, he was looking at it every single day, right? He never saw it coming. Another great case. This one took a little longer, 12 months, but wow, I'd take that too. Now look at this one, 18 months, right? Now this one, he wasn't very happy at 12 months. It took him a little bit longer. It took him a little longer for a couple of reasons. One was nutrition. Number two was he was just a progressive young guy that progressed pretty quickly. On that left side, that's bald, right? That's getting pretty bad. And he also has little blonde hairs, and they are tough to show, right? Because remember that something white doesn't really grab the light and push the light the signal back, so I can't pick them up. When the hairs start to get a little thicker, they started turning a little bit brown, and that picture looks great. I'd like to see his 24-month picture, so hopefully we'll get that soon for you guys, okay? And this is the gentleman from front, the very first time. This is him at 14 months. His full head of hair had grown back. He sent us a picture. He's been on the program now for 10 years. He's got great hair. He kept his hair. I think his hair looks thicker now than it. Yeah, there he is. Yeah, 9 years later, right? So people worry. They say, "Yeah, doctor, what if it may work a little bit?" Because I heard Rogaine may work a little bit. Rogaine didn't work for your grandfather. It didn't work for your father. It's not going to work for you, and it won't work for your children. It was branded to work, and it's approved by the dermatologist, so that's why people believe in it, but it doesn't work. So this gentleman, still 9 years later, you're going to have all the hair you have. It's only going to continue to get thicker, right? His hair today looks thicker than it did back when he was 14 months after the program. This gentleman came in, and boy, oh boy, what a nice guy he is, right? That long hair, you'd think it might be a woman, but it's a guy. He had great hair. And he came in, he had stress, right? He had a couple of babies and a pretty tough job. I think he was a producer, director, one of those types. And not only did he get the alopecia areata, right, a little circle in there, he came to see me. "Hey, doc, I noticed that he had a little bit of androgenetic alopecia as well." So we did some shots in his head to cut down on the inflammation, the inflammatory response. But you see that those white hairs, right, all that hair turned white and then turned back gray, like a nice brown gray color. And that's because his stress was removed. People said, "Doctor, can you make gray hair turn into?" No, I cannot. This picture looks like that, and he did not dye his hair, but this is what stress can do to the hair, okay? Stress can make the hair, the melanin not want to form inside the hair, and stress can make the hair look can make it fall out and also thin it. So stress is a big part of this program. We do our best to reduce it, okay? But I can't guarantee you white hair turns dark. But it is a great case, and he's such a nice person. All right, 16 months, and you see globally all the hair just starts to thicken up all over. And the next part is the eligibility, okay? So you guys have learned a lot about how the process and the science. Now we've got to get the microscope out, right? Get on top and look into the zones, right? 5 zones. Let's find out if hair is starting to miniaturize, if hair is starting to recede, and then we'll look in and see if we can do something about it with checking the blood work.
So give me a call for a 15-minute complimentary consultation to discuss the process for assessing your current biochemical health that's causing the hair loss, and I'll answer any questions that you have. Hope to hear from you soon.